Hi, welcome back in for another half-hour huddle. I'm Director of Content for Alabama, Aaron Suttles, and as you know, as we've been doing all summer and now into the fall, half-hour huddle is your exclusive opportunity to interact with student athletes at the University of Alabama, the student athletes that make the sports program so great. We're thrilled to welcome in Terrion. We'll get to him in just a second. I'm so glad and excited for you guys to get to experience Terrion because he's a joy to deal with and one of the best players on the field. But great personality. We're going to talk to him in just a second. Of course, Alabama got that big matchup with Texas on Saturday. Make sure you're checking out the social media brands for Yay Alabama. We'll keep you updated with all the content that we provide, plus some cool stuff that we're seeing around campus on Saturday. I'm sure we'll see some crazy stuff. A lot of Texas fans making the journey into Tuscaloosa. Yay Alabama Vodka is at Galette's. We know that Rounders has ordered it. We think that Houndstooth has ordered it. And we're pretty sure that Innisfree has it on its way too. So when you see Yay Alabama Vodka out in the wild, make sure you're testing it out, buying some. All the profits, 100% of the profits of that, just like everything that we do at Yay Alabama, goes back to the student athletes. What this whole thing for NIL was intended to do was support the student athletes at the University of Alabama. So make sure. Also, if I can ask you a favor, if you see any Yay Alabama, if you see any polos out there this weekend, any hats, any T-shirts, tag us in that on our social media channels. We'd love to retweet and repost those as well. It's now my distinct pleasure to bring in cornerback, defensive back from the University of Alabama, Terrion Arnold. Terrion, thanks for your time, bud.
How you doing, man? You good?
I'm doing well. It's always great to see your smiling face. For those that don't know, you ask anybody around the Alabama football program who has the best personality on the team, and your name is always one of the first that comes up. Is that something you were just sort of blessed with and born with, a good personality? Is that something that you've worked to achieve over the years?
Growing up, I was always taught just treat people how you want to be treated, and I wouldn't want nobody to treat me, the wrong way. So that's kind of like how I pride myself, and something that my family instilled in me when I was younger. So I really just be myself.
That's a great it's a great way to be, and especially when you're blessed with a great personality like you. So one game under your belt, what did you learn about your defense? What did you learn about this team in 1 week?
I would say I learned a lot as far as us just going out there and being able to compete and really just practicing hard. When I was out there in the environment with my brothers, we were really smiling, having fun. It might have looked like we were trash talking, but we were really during the game kind of making side bets as far as who could get to the ball first, who could establish or set the tone, and really just going out there and having fun. So I learned that, man, playing with my teammates like in practice, like it's really a blessing, and it's something that we've really, really, really took to the next level. And I would say something that we really pride ourselves on. So just going out there and having fun, that's something that I learned. Like we could really be a great team when we're all on the same page and having fun together.
And I think it was one of the first plays on defense. Middle Tennessee State, they went at you, and you made a great play. You turned and looked for the ball. Actually, if there's a still shot of it, it looks like if you had that stick 'em on your glove, you might have made a one-handed interception. I know fans love that. You turned and looked for the ball, and you just seemed like you were on your game on Saturday.
Uh, I feel like all that has to kind of attest to last year. Like I talked about in one of my other press conferences, my first start sophomore year, they went at me and I wasn't able to make the play. So I had a whole year to think about that. Obviously, when they came out, I'm thinking in my head like just from film study. Number three has been on the right side this whole time. He's speedy. He's a quick receiver. Normally Kool-Aid will be guarding him because he's on the right side. Why is he coming to the left? He's their shot guy. He had a very explosive game against Miami. So in my head, I'm always thinking like, okay, what better way to come out and just try Alabama to try to test them? And it's kind of crazy because when they threw it, I really thought I had caught it because I mean that's one of those things that I practice on the jugs and just one of those acrobatic plays that I feel I have the ability to make. So when I had it in my hand, he was pulling me down. So as he's pulling me down, obviously like I'm like, okay, I don't want to fall on my head or fall on my hand, so my body had to let go. But I really thought I could have came up with that play.
It was a phenomenal play. If you haven't looked it up, there is a video. There's actually a still shot of the play. If you haven't seen it at home, make sure you look up that great play by Terrion, sort of setting the tone of what the secondary will be this year. Let's not waste any time, Terrion. I know you've got meetings and stuff to get to. I know the fans are anxious to hear from you. If you have any questions, we've already had some submitted, but if you have some live now, beneath the video, you can click comment, and we will take your questions. But let's go to a question that was pre-submitted. Jay wants to know, why did you choose to play at Alabama? For those that don't know, you were a really highly rated high school player coming out of Florida. You could have gone anywhere pretty much you wanted to go. Why Alabama?
I chose Alabama because ultimately Coach Saban didn't try to sell me something. obviously in the recruitment game, a lot of people they kind of get their heads blown up. And with my whole recruiting process, we didn't have visits because we had COVID. So you really had to ultimately make a business decision. And I think obviously as much as I wanted to take official visits, as I've grown older and matured, just looking back at it, I would say Alabama, because the business and the track record that they had previously, and really just coming in and being pushed, being molded to being the best player that you can be. And the way that Coach Saban recruited me, as far as him being just a nice guy, keeping it real, he's just like that. Like most people, oftentimes they don't think like that. They look at Coach Saban as, man, he's always strict. Man, his face, he's always mugging. Nah, man, the dude cracks jokes all the times. With him being our DB coach, even as he's getting older, like Coach Saban has really started to come around with his personality and stuff. And guys like that and guys on the team, they'll tell you it's infectious, man. Like he's a really, really great dude.
Yeah, and there's a ton of talent in that secondary. You're a big part of that. But Kool-Aid McKinstry, you got Caleb Downs, the youngster, Earl Little. I mean, it's just loaded with talent. It certainly says a lot about you that you're shining on that defense early. Let's grab another question here. This one coming from Chris. You came to Alabama as a highly regarded recruit. How did you handle waiting your turn to get on the field?
I wouldn't necessarily say I waited my turn. I would just say Coach Saban, he's really, really big on trust. And ultimately, you seen Kool-Aid played as a freshman. He won't put guys out there that aren't ready. So as far as not, I mean, obviously I wanted to be out there. So I
Right,
wouldn't say it was just like I went in there and I was like, oh, man, I got to wait till sophomore year to play. Nah,
right.
it was just a matter of when Coach Saban thought I was ready. And, as far as being a DB and being a young DB, being out there, most people don't realize like it's really you and your own. Somebody go out there and score on you. Only thing stopping that is you and God. So I mean, just as far as that, I would say I stayed humble. I put my head down and I worked and really learned the playbook. Like that's the main thing. As far as knowing what to do, if you don't know what to do, then you can't go out there and expect to make plays. When you know what to do, you can go out there and play fast and let your keys and everything you've seen on film apply. So with that being said, I didn't really wait my turn. I just felt like when Coach Saban felt I was ready, and when my teammates, coaches, they saw that I was ready. That's when I was able to impact and help the team.
Yeah, you said something interesting there. You got to earn that trust. You got to earn the trust of your teammates. You got to earn the trust of the coaching staff. What does it take to earn that kind of trust?
It takes number one. Most people don't realize this. The point system. It takes being on time, not being late, turning in your assignments. Like Coach Saban, he preaches a lot. How can I expect you to go out here and make a big stop on third down if you can't go turn in your math homework? So all that goes hand in hand. So as far as that being said, you earn it just by going out there, making plays, working hard, and really just showing your teammates that you're not. The word that I'm trying to find is you're not undervaluing or underappreciating where you're at. Most people can oftentimes let it get to their head and be like, "Hey, man, I'm at Alabama," and that's it. Nah, like that wasn't all for me. Like I really wanted to go out here, coming from Florida. Obviously, being a Florida native, people thought like Florida State, Florida, wanted to come out here and make an impact. So with that being said, you earn your teammates' trust by really just continuing and following in the right footsteps and just really, really growing. Ultimately, like being at Alabama, you're not in competition with nobody else but yourself. So when Coach Saban sees, okay, he's a better player than he was 2 months ago. He's a better player than he was a year ago. He really just grades you by that.
Man, what a fantastic answer. And for those who are asking, how do you earn trust? Answering the question like that goes a long way. A lot of maturity there from Terrion. Let's grab another question here. This one coming from Thomas. How long did it take you to feel comfortable playing multiple positions in the secondary?
I would say this summer. This summer was really like a big growth and stepping stone for me. Obviously, when you're at corner, you have to know what the star does. You have to know what the safety does because you have to over communicate in order to have success in the secondary. But really, this summer, just as far as working with my team, we put in a lot of work that we didn't have to put in. So obviously, you have times where you have your teams 7-on-7s, you have your teams individual drills, and obviously, like as forming that brotherhood, like we really, really put in a lot of time outside of when the necessary time was required for us to go out there and practice. So this summer,
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility. Nick Saban's secondary is not easy to learn. And I can't imagine what it would take to learn to play multiple positions.
I tell people
So,
all the time, man, the secondary is like math. Like
yeah,
when I first got here, coming out of high school, like coming from where I came from, a smaller school, John Paul, we ran cover one, cover four, little cover two, little cover three. Up here, it looked like geometry mixed with a little bit of calculus. So I mean, it's crazy.
he's got you out there writing algorithms in real time. Let's grab another. Question here from Jay. How have you helped Caleb Downs adjust to his role in the secondary?
Okay, Aaron, since you're one of the guys that kind of like welcome me on the show, I'm gonna give y'all like a little bit of inside information that if only people watch this, they'll know. So during the summer, Caleb and I, we were going to Atlanta. We were going to Atlanta to go and work out. As we were going to work out, this was at about 8 o'clock. It was really, really actually no, it wasn't during the summer. It was during the spring because it was still kind of chilly. So it was chilly out, and man, my car caught a flat tire. So my
Okay.
car catches a flat tire. Now we on the side of the road. Me and Caleb on the side of the road, man. It's about I still remember it's 33 degrees. So it's
Oh,
33 degrees.
yeah,
Me
that's
and
chilly.
Caleb outside, we looking, we like, what we gonna do? I called my granddad. My granddad like, you're not leaving that car on the side of the road, man. Y'all, it's a spare tire, man. You better go put it on. So I mean, obviously I have experience. I've watched my granddad do it before. Caleb
Yeah,
has watched his dad do it before. Mr. Downs, he's an awesome guy. Caleb has a great family, awesome mom, awesome support system. So we looked at each other, and I'll never forget this moment because we have it before the game. We looked at each other and we was like, "Hey, it's time to lock in. We got to go make a play." So we go, we get out there, we in the cold, fixing the tire, man, having to adjust it right there. And then just from then on, right there, I looked at him and I was like, "Yeah, I ain't never had to do this with nobody. This is somebody I could trust. Like my life was on the line with him because like we on the side of the road. If we don't do this, if we don't make this play or fix this tire, we stranded. So just that right there. When he first got here, him being that type of person coming in and just wanting to be better. Like most people don't understand when Caleb first came in, he was like, nothing's given to me, and I just really want to be good. Like he didn't care about all the accolades. He didn't care about the pressure. The kid just wanted to come in here and just work. So I'm that same type of person. So outside of football, I would say, man, we go to FCA together, we eat together. I mean, he's truly one of my friends, and that's something that kind of like made the role of coming in here uh, easier. In our secondary, we have a lot of guys who are family, and we know a lot about each other, and ultimately we're brothers. So I mean, why would you not want to go out there and fight for your brother?
that's an awesome, phenomenal story, and that just shows the bonds that get made when you're a part of a team and you have a close relationship. Just heard unbelievable things about Caleb. Can't wait to see how he develops this year. Let's grab another question here. Trey, you played a great game Saturday. Did you see that performance coming?
Most definitely. You put in the work and you practice hard, make practice harder than the games will be easy. So I mean, just like seeing number three, just like in practice when it's number three versus number three and Jermaine Burton, that same rep, that same 50-50 ball, making that play, I get those same plays in practice.
Man, can't wait to see it on Saturday. Let's grab another question here from Ben. The defense appears to be locked in. And that's a word. That's what you just said, that you used that phrase, locked in. What's the mentality of this group heading into the Texas game?
I would say the same mentality that we had going into the first opening game, as far as going out there and establishing the tempo. This is a very great team. It's going to be a lot of emotions, and it's a lot of stuff going into the game. But I would say, as far as from the defense, uh, it's the same thing for us. Like we prepared for this during the summer, and anybody will tell you this is why you come to Alabama. So I wouldn't say the defense appears to be locked in. Like we've been locked in since the summer, staying off of social media, not seeing what's going in, and just ultimately going out there, having fun, flying around, and making plays for each other. This is an unselfish defense that has a lot of people who just want to see other people make plays. And like they say, the ball will find you if you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So
Man, I wish we had an hour with Terrion Arnold because he's so good at this. That defense was pretty aggressive. I can't wait to see what they're going to do going forward. Let's grab another question here so we can get you out. You got stuff to do. It stinks that Malachi and Jalen got a little banged up. How does the defense adjust if they can't play? Nick Saban has told us this week that both guys are practicing, but who knows if they play. But I'm sure you got confidence in the guys that are behind them, right?
most definitely, like we always say, you never know when your number will be called. And when you come to Alabama, you have a lot of good people. You have a lot of guys who are interchangeable. And in this secondary, we have a lot of position versatility. That's one of our strengths and something that we have. So same way as if I was to go down, we'll make the adjustment and we'll be right.
Yeah. Well, hopefully nobody else gets banged up, but it's football. It's a physical game. We know that stuff happens. Let's grab another question here. Jeff wants to know: you and Kool Aid make quite the pair. Do you have nicknames for each other or for the style or way y'all play?
Uh, nah. We don't have nicknames for each other, but like I would tell anybody, man, Kool-Aid, that's my brother. So I just going out there, it makes it easy for me to go out there and fight for him as he's fighting for me. So I mean, it's family and it's a bond that we've had since our freshman year.
It just feels like this secondary is so talented. Terrion, is that something you guys felt in spring, or is it something that has developed since then?
Nah, that's something that we felt during the spring. We first realized that during fourth quarter. We had nobody who tapped out, nobody who quit, and as far as you know, Malachi being an upperclassman, being a leader, and fourth quarter, all the roles were really established. So like me, Malachi, Kool Aid, guys being leaders of the secondary, like established the tone from then when we were running sprints, just as far as nobody tapping out and really coaching up the young guys. And like that refers back to the other question that happened as far as us being familiar with each other and being ready to go if somebody does get hurt. Next man up in our minds.
Yeah, and as you can hear from Terrion, that secondary, the strength of how good they are. That's probably a big reason why Nick Saban likes this team so much. You can tell. I've covered this team a long time. Nick Saban genuinely likes this team. Let's grab another question here from Richard. What's Coach Steele like to play for?
Coach Steele, man, he has like that sergeant, that general kind of voice, and his mentality. If you don't do it right, he's gonna make you go back and redo it. And ultimately, like most people are fearful of Coach Saban. He's not. Like him and Coach Saban, they go well together. They gel together, and you can tell that they've had relationships in the past. But just as far as like Coach Saban letting them do what he does, and Coach Steele, he's a player's coach.
Yep.
Most defensive coordinators, if they call the play, that's what they're going to run. He's the type of person, hey, coach, man, this ain't really making us look good. Hey, coach, I see this. He'll make the adjustment and he'll listen to you. Because ultimately, the players are the ones out there seeing it. I don't care what you call it. If a guy can't go out there and play this right here, a defensive coordinator can make you look bad. And he's one of those guys who I have a very, very great relationship with, and everybody on the team has a great relationship with. When we go out there, when we practice, go out there and play, we want to play for him.
Yep. You said something I've heard about Kevin Steele from pretty much every stop he's ever been at is that he is a player's coach. All right, we got a few more minutes here with Terrion Arnold before he's got to get to his responsibilities. Let's get to as many questions as we can. How do you approach a big game like the one on Saturday? Is it the same? Is it just a game, or does you feel the nerves of a big game?
Obviously, you feel the nerves of a big game, but when you result back to your teaching, result back to practice, when you line up, quarterback still got to say hut, receiver still got to run his route, still got to come out of the tunnel and make everything as far as if you were playing a high school team. It's the same thing you've been doing your whole life. So you just let your rules apply, and main thing would just be preparation and practice.
Yep.
With different teams, people tell you not to say it, but obviously you could be like in your head, like, "Hey, man, like this team has this or this team has that," and you're very cognizant of it. When you come to watching film and stuff, you might approach that a little bit differently. But when it just comes to going out there and playing, same thing you've been doing your whole life.
Yeah. Once they snap the ball, it's just football, right?
It's football, man.
All right. Let's grab another question. This is from Jimmy. Does one defensive back like you defend Worthy, great Texas receiver, or do you play your side and Kool-Aid, or another defensive back play the other side? You mentioned that matchup you had against Middle Tennessee State. You were surprised to see the speedy guy on you. Without getting too technical about your individual responsibilities, how does that work? Do you generally stay with one receiver, or do you just play one side of the field?
I mean, obviously, as you would see, like in Coach Saban's defenses, even when Pat Surtain was here, Josh Jobe was on the other side, Pat was on the left, Josh was on the right. Same thing with me and Cool. I mean, if that receiver comes to your side, that's who you guard.
Yeah.
He's never been the type of coach to really like, man, this the guy needs to go follow him. Nah, because I mean, that just results back to why they brought you here.
Yep.
You can defend anybody. So
Yep.
it's just the same thing how he's been coaching this since he's been here. If Worthy comes to the left, I'll be guarding him. If he goes to the right, Kool-Aid will be guarding him.
There you go. All right, let's get another one in here. Aside from Worthy, who is getting media attention? What are the biggest challenges to defend Texas? What have you seen from this Texas offense so far on film?
Steve Sarkisian, offensive guru. He's the type of guy who has like a lot of motions and does a lot of things to create a lot of different personnel. And I mean, the guy's a genius. His play calling ability. You saw what he did here at Alabama. Won Devontae Smith the Heisman. So just as far as getting guys the ball in space, the biggest challenge is just us, like us going out there and doing our job. He has a lot of eye candy that would try to get your eyes off the wrong things. But just like in football, when you were younger, if a guy's gonna run a go, he's gonna run a go. They might have different ways of disguising it to get to it, but it's just all about us doing our job.
Awesome. Let's get two more, and then let's get Terrion out of here so we can continue with that preparation for Texas. Let's grab another question. Jimmy wants to know who came up with Lank, which if you haven't heard about, Terrion told us about earlier in the week. And are you going to Lank, Texas?
Me and Jay Mill, I would say like we go back and forth with it. I would say like it's 50-50. So when as far as us coming out there and just being around one day, it's kind of crazy. Like I can't really remember like the exact date that it happened, but it's something that we even started saying it last year. So just as far as letting all
For those
naysayers
who
know,
don't know, haven't heard it, what is that? It's an acronym. What does Lank stand for?
let a naysayer know or let all naysayers know.
Yeah.
So just basically as far as us staying off social media, people disrespecting us, people thinking we're not gonna be this or do that, man, we gotta let them know. You gotta link them.
I
And
think Alabama's going to have to partner with Terrion and Jay Mill to get that T-shirt made.
oh yeah, man, that link, man, you got to throw it up. You would see right before the game when me and Jay Mill are down by the end zone. Well, we do. It was crazy the first game because we didn't really think that people knew about it, but we did our little handshake. We said Lank, and the people in the crowd were like, "Lank, let them know." I was like, "Man, they don't even know what it means." So
I love it. All right, final question for Terrion Arnold, who's been a fantastic guest and very gracious with his time. Jason wants to know, what's the most valuable thing you've learned at Alabama so far?
I would say people say don't come to college and really get your feelings attached into it. But the most valuable thing that I've learned that it's a bunch of great people here. Just as far as me having a relationship with one of my advisors, Molly, like she's one of the head advisors here. And who would have ever thought like when you come here, like you don't think about it like, hey man, you would love going to class because of your advisor or you would love to practice because of your coach. So I would just say, just as far as just being here and the relationships that I built, that's one thing that I've learned that you can really get here and meet great people.
Well, hopefully you guys have experienced what I've already heard about, and that is Terrion Arnold, who's a fantastic interview, a fantastic personality, and a fantastic football player. Terrion, we can't thank you enough. Go get ready for Saturday's game, and God bless.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all, man. Roll Tide and Lank.
Lank, I love it. We're gonna have to get a Lank. Let all naysayers know. So maybe Alabama might have to cook up another T-shirt. Uh, that's what the beauty of NIL is. But man, what a fantastic interview! One of my favorite guys on this team. Great personality, approaches life with that sort of energy and that sort of positivity. And you can feel it. I mean, I know you're just watching it through a stream, but I hope you can feel why he's such a popular guy on this team and played a great game versus Middle Tennessee State. Obviously, will have his hands full as well as the rest of the Alabama defense with Texas and Steve Sarkisian. I'm sure you guys remember Steve Sarkisian's offense and how those first scripted couple of series might be very difficult for this Alabama defense. But that's the joy of college football, why we love it. And for players like Terrion Arnold, who I would have to say, of football players, we've had some good ones. That was one of my favorites. I love Tyler Booker. I remember thinking Jermaine Burton gave some great answers, and man, Terrion just knocked it out of the park. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. Remember, Alabama, Texas on Saturday. Basically every college football show in the country will be there. ESPN, Barstool will be there. It's going to be crowded, so make sure you get to town early. Make sure you're heading up and finding Yay Alabama vodka. All those proceeds will help us at Yay Alabama Fund, the NIL entity, with all those funds going back to the student athlete. And if you see any Yay Alabama gear, like what I'm sporting today, this is one of these Holderness and Bourne polos that we have for sale in our merch shop. Make sure you snap us a picture, tag us in that, and make sure you're sharing that on all our socials. Make sure you're following us on all our socials, and make sure you're telling your friends about Yay Alabama. We need memberships. That's the best, most effective way that you can have on the impact of a sport. Is you supporting the future of the athletic program, and that is through Yay Alabama. Can't thank Terrion Arnold enough. Until next week, I believe we got J.C. Latham, right tackle. J.C. Latham, who is also another big personality. He's a big, you can't play tackle at Alabama. I wrote last week that the average of Alabama's offensive line, the five starters across, they average about 340 pounds. Average. And J.C. Latham is one of those big guys that help keep that number at that average around 340. So, but he's a big guy, literally and figuratively, because he's also got a big personality. So we got him next Wednesday at 12:30. So make sure you're setting your calendar reminder for that. Until next week for Half Hour Huddle, I'm Aaron Suttles, Director of Content for Yale, Alabama.